kids to bed, dad's home. We are the DWO podcast, representing the Dad World Order. I am the handsome head of household, Mr. Magnificent, Mike Martin. And with me, as always, the rest of this patriarch pack. He is the big bad bearded daddy. He is Big Rig Eric Maffey.
What's going on?
And last but not least, he is the perpetual Mig Carter and the two-time world record holding. He is the wrestling t-shirt guy, Cephas.
What up, y'all? How y'all doing today?
Pretty hunky-dory, man.
Pretty
long night last night.
Great night last night.
Yeah, great show last night, man. Well, as Mr. Magnificent said, we are the DWO podcast, and today, as y'all can see, we have a very special guest with us. One of the main characters of a very recent documentary that just dropped on Netflix called Wrestlers. We grew up watching him. We love him. Mr. Al Snow. Sir, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great. If I were any better, I'd be jealous of myself.
Love it.
So we got to hit you with we have one question that we ask every guest, and we definitely got to make sure we got to get out of the way. Mike.
Sure.
So as dads, and you being a fellow dad, we always like to know, kind of gauge people. What do you keep your thermostat set to?
During the summer, like 72.
Ooh,
Little
warm blood.
72.
72 in the summer and 68 in the winter kind of guy.
Oh yeah. Nobody touches it. Nobody's allowed to touch the thermostat.
Darn Skippy.
That's
and
right.
Everybody's got to turn off lights when they leave a room. So
Absolutely.
That's right.
I put smart lights or smart switches everywhere in my house just so I could pick up my phone and go.
I'm gonna need to put smart switches because my kids ain't that smart to shut them off. So.
Oh man. So when we have someone on our show, we like to do a little research on them. So we like to hire private eyes, if you will, and we like to find out if the person we're interviewing is exactly who they say they are. And you're famous for having conversations with the head. So we've wondered if maybe you're actually privy to certain things in the head world. So we did a little research, and first off, we found out that you're awful astute. You're into head studies, brain studies. That's proof right there.
Yeah, it's all about the head space. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And we also found as well that you were a bit of a farmer, a harvester, if you will.
Yeah, I love heads of lettuce. Yes.
Yeah. And also something that we found that was really astounding, I think, was that you stood up for head rights, and I think that that's really cool. You know what I mean? I see that you go the extra mile and stand up for head rights, and that's something that we like.
Yeah, head identifies as a body part, so
Yeah, man. Well, we actually got a couple people saying hello. Our good friend Pro Wrestling Podcast, Dave, what's going on? The wife of Mr. Magnificent,
Mrs. Magnificent.
Mrs. Magnificent.
Hey.
Our guy Steve over at Armchair Booking.
Magnificent duo.
Yeah, right. The better half.
Dan, how's it going?
Heck yeah, everybody's in the comments today.
Yeah, Brando, Al Snow, how are you?
Oh yeah.
James, what's going on?
So
Marlon Brando, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Hey, he's an old pal of ours,
His name is Brandon, but we always call him Brando.
Oh, gotcha.
It'd be cool if it was Marlon Brando.
Well, yeah.
Is he still
back from the dead?
So
I think he's assumed room temperature. So
yeah.
Room temperature.
So you are a father of two, correct? Did we do our research?
No, I have 6.
6?
Yeah.
Wow, I think I read that correct.
You were so close.
Part of the overpopulation problem by myself. So
he's a busy
I
guy.
don't know why. I don't own a farm or anything. It's not like I need them as extra hands or anything like that.
Right? Yeah.
And Lord knows they wouldn't do anything anyhow. So
it turns out they know what causes that, Al.
Yeah, I know. It's that dancing stuff, you know. That's why they've outlawed it in Footloose. That's the exact sound I make too.
Every time.
Every time.
So the success of this documentary's got to feel amazing, man. I gotta say, I have so many people because I'm the wrestling guy in my family, obviously, and everyone has been hitting me up about how great this documentary is and how it makes them want to go see an OVW show. And man, you guys
Great.
packed the house last week. That was an
And
insane
we
show.
we have, you know, we've been on a steady course of that for about the last year and a half or so, where we've done solid business, nothing exceptional, but I think with the advent of this documentary, I think that's going to be more the case than the exception, that we'll be packing the house pretty much all the time. So, you know, which is awesome. I mean, it just, you know, and to that, I mean, the documentary couldn't have come out at a better time. You know, we were, you know, roster wise and presentation wise, and we're more prepared now than we've ever been to properly take advantage of the opportunity that this documentary presents. So
Awesome.
Plus, in our opinion, you've got like the greatest world champion right now because our good buddy and former guest of the show, Mr. Jack Vaughn, is your guys' champion right now.
He is the OVW heavyweight champion. Yes, he is.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, man. He's
He's a terrific guy.
Yeah, exceedingly kind to us. We've been fans of his from quite a long time. So we've it's pretty cool to see him get a little bit of success underneath him.
Yeah, and you know, I've been really proud of, you know, from where when he came to OVW to where he is now, and the development and his growth have been remarkable.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and he's such a good character, all in one, because he's turned himself up, and that's what it takes, man. And it's really just him being exactly who he is, just animated a bit more, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that's what works. You know, it can't can't be a character. It has to be an aspect of your personality that you turn up really loud and allow to really come out. And you know, I tell the talent, please, you know, turn it up as far as you can, and I'll tell you when to dial it back. And in all the years I've been doing it, I've never had to tell one talent to turn it back down. So
That's good.
More.
Always.
I know for me, it
Now-
was really cool to see that kind of, between you and the gorilla, quote unquote, gorilla position with the headset, and then hearing your communication with the commentary team, and kind of just seeing that and hearing that interaction for the first time, and seeing that kind of control, or what that position controls during the match. Because we've introduced or interviewed producers of matches and kind of hear what they do, but to see it actually in action was really cool for me.
Yeah, that's the same role that Vince plays in WWE, you know, with the commentators. You know, he's feeding them what to say, when to say it, why to say it, you know, how to direct the story. Granted, he usually curses a lot more and screams while he's doing it.
You don't say. Poor Michael Cole.
Quite a bit, you know, while he's doing it. But and that takes a little bit of getting used to. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, obviously your promotion itself has seen some, you know, a lot more eyes on it since the documentary. Has your talent, have any of them seen an influx and, you know, people wanting to maybe book them or anything since the documentary came out?
Oh, sure, and I'm sure that will be the case going forward. You know, they're probably going to, you know, because of the greater amount of exposure and, you know, being presented on the documentary in the manner that they are and the light they are. Yeah, they're definitely going to get a lot more opportunities, you know, outside of OVW, and I'm now going to have to compete, you know, with those opportunities for their availability. I know that's the downside, but it's also the upside, because, you know, for the people that aren't going to be able to be available on a consistent basis, it allows others that I may not have gotten
Move
to
up.
see, to move up. And then
Mhm.
it keeps things fresh, keeps things moving forward,
Sure.
keeps giving other people, new opportunities. And you never know, when you're going to, find that, that person that's really going to unlock things. A great case in point. Years ago, when I was here with Impact, and I was doing it was a very long storyline, and I'd had this local attorney that was here, was a part of things. He was awesome TV, but the guy was a complete lunatic, off screen.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I can manage him, I can handle him, and at the time, we were developing the relationship with Impact as a developmental territory for Impact Wrestling, and I knew that we were going to have a huge influx of outside talent, and I was trying to come up with a way to justify that for the audience. And I thought, I'll put this guy in a position as a heel, and he'll be the guy that comes in, and there'll be a struggle as far as who controls the company, type of thing.
Right.
And literally the very week that I was about to, and this has been in the makings for about a year and a half. Literally the week that I was going to really break all this open and really start it in that direction, this guy loses his mind, causes a bunch of drama, tries to get a wrestler fired from that was working in OVW and was also working at Impact at the time, and just melted down. And I had to I had to cut him loose. I had to get rid of him. And there was a female wrestler here by the name of Josie, and she was great, but didn't really, I'd never really seen much, didn't know what she could do. And one thing led to another, and I needed to replace him as the centerpiece of this whole story. And I would like, hey, Josie, here's an opportunity, and that girl went from just being in the background to being a star, and put a mic in her hand, and she carried the ball. And it was, it was what I started coining the term of the divine providence of accident. It just, the minute that all your plans are laid out and you're really thinking you've got this, and then of course something, blows up, and then another person just steps right in, and it goes a complete different direction, even bigger and better than what you could have hoped. And, so I'm not real worried, about now having to compete with for the talent, because I know it's just going to give other people an opportunity to stand up and get in that spotlight.
Sure.
That's going to be super awesome anyways, just to see the influx of people wanting to come to OVW. For example, for us, we normally record on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and now that we know your guys' shows are normally on Thursdays, we're definitely going to try to pre-record a few episodes just so we can get ourselves there and just feel it in person, man. I gotta be honest, I've not been to an OVW show in probably 4 or 5 years. So I live right by it. And honestly, as I'm watching the documentary, I'm kind of kicking myself, like, why have I not been here? You know what I mean? Like, I knew Jack was there, you know what I mean? I'm just like, why was I not there for the filming of this? Like, why, but I tell you what, it's definitely got me to the point to where I'm going to do everything I can to get me a Thursday or so free so we can.
Well, that's great. Yeah, please. Yeah, I mean, that's really the one piece of the puzzle that we were missing was just awareness. Just getting the word out was really it. It wasn't the talent, for lack of talent. It wasn't for lack of creativity. It wasn't for lack of, atmosphere or experience. Why, and for an audience and experience that they wanted to get. It wasn't for any of that, or a quality of shows. Because I can quite frankly tell you, because if it were, believe me, I am our own worst critic. My whole job is to sit there and look for what we do wrong all the time. My job is not to give out compliments. My job is not to pat people on the back. My job is not to, blindly believe that we're perfect. My job is to literally find everything that we do wrong and make it better. Find every problem and fix it. Find, and literally push everyone to be better than they are, and never be satisfied. So I can tell you that if I felt that it was not something that people have slept on and have missed, I'd say, yeah, you were better off not coming. But I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't. But I think that's always been our one hurdle that we've had to jump. Even in Louisville itself, we've the amount of awareness that we lack still to this day is insane. I mean, and that's always been the case for OVW. When I first came down in the early 2000s, and it was a developmental program for WWE, I'd be walking around town and people would come up, oh, is wrestling in town? I'd be like, yeah, every Wednesday night, right over here on Shepherdsville Road. And like one time a guy who works at GE, which is literally on the same road, about a mile down on the left-hand side from where we're at. And the guy walked in the building one day and he goes, oh, wow, I didn't know this was in here. And I go, yeah, it's been here for years. And he goes, well, for the last 15 years, I've been working at GE down the road. I didn't even know this was here. I go,
wow.
Yeah, so, and, I'll go around town and, people will be like, oh, man, OVW, I'll be wearing an OVW shirt. OVW, oh, that's still here. Yeah, I used to go there when I was a kid. And I'm like, yeah, we're still going, man. You can come back anytime. I dare you.
I think a lot of people got confused when, the WWE moved.
I think so, yeah. When we
lost
that.
So people assumed that it just went with it, I guess.
I think they thought that it, had closed up the doors or something, but, we've been, still plugging along. And but I think the biggest thing the documentary is going to do for us is create awareness and exposure and relevancy again. So.
I know. Well, last Thursday when we had a little scheduling snafu, it caused us to watch your guys' event live, and we definitely enjoyed it. We were watching on Fight, so we enjoyed that. We made the best of a situation. So, but
and I apologize. I didn't even realize that.
It's okay.
I scheduled that on a TV day, and TV, it's a nightmare. I mean,
we had people messaging us like, "You guys know Al's at OVW, right?" Like, you had come out through the curtain. He's like, "He's not going to be on the show." And we're like, "Yeah."
My daughter messaged me, and she goes, you were supposed to do the Dead World Order podcast. I went, "Oh shoot, that's right. I shouldn't have scheduled it for today." What was I thinking?
Speaking of Brittany, she is a very dear friend of ours. We go to a lot of the Revolver shows up in Dayton, and she's just been the absolute best to us up there.
It's funny because we were a podcast for like 6 months, and she was like, "Why haven't you asked my dad to be on the show?" And we're like, "Who's your dad?" Like we had no idea. Really? That's actually part of what we did with our private eye. We actually sent out and tried to reach out and see if we could find out how good of a dad you were, and we actually found some evidence for that as well.
Oh, I'm terrible. I'm terrible. I mean,
pull that up, Greg.
Well, I just give it a listen.
They say a daughter's first true love is her dad. Well, this mini-me got to share her dad with the whole world and wrestling industry growing up. My name is Brittany. I'm Al Snow's daughter from the new Netflix series Wrestlers, featuring OVW in Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, of course, growing up in the wrestling industry was hard. I miss my dad constantly. But he instilled in me with my uniqueness, brains, and strength. I can do anything I ever dreamed of, any passion I ever have. All I needed was the drive. He still instills that in his trainees to this day, that sometimes you just have to think outside the box and become what you were destined to be, which was greatness. Yeah, of course it had its ups and downs. But at the end of the day, he is my support system. He is there for me, just like his students. He cares. He has passion. He just wants everyone to succeed just like how he did. That you can conquer your dreams. That you don't have to be the norm. I was lucky to have someone so wonderful support me throughout my life. And I'm so happy for my extended wrestling family that I could never live without. Thank you for sharing my dad with me. And thank you for supporting my family and giving us everything we needed when I was growing up. Food on our table, a roof over our head. Wrestling gave us a life that we couldn't ever have dreamed of. Thank you for continuing to support independent wrestling and going to independent shows. These people love you and need you. We love our fans. Thank you.
She's good.
Oh, yeah, she is.
Yeah.
We're all
Very proud
also
of her.
dads of daughters, so
Uh-huh.
we kind of reached out to her and just, asked her to send in a little video, and she sent us that, and I
Give her
teared
that.
up the first
Yeah.
time I watched it. So
Yeah.
It's I have 2 adult daughters myself, and I told them, I was like, man, just to, what it's, when they get to that age, you don't hear this kind of stuff from them. So to hear it, hear an
Oh,
adult kid
I know.
tell you how much they care and what you mean to them is definitely touching. So
It's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That's probably the best thing I've ever gotten in a long time. That's
Hey.
amazing.
last time I seen you smile that big, you had the idea of beating your co-owner up. That guy had received so much damn hate mail. I'm texting these guys like episode 3, like, Matt Jones is the biggest douche ever.
Hey, I will say though, he grew on me by the end. I
Yeah.
think I definitely got a respect for. I think it was an excellent arc for him, if you will,
Yeah.
for the show. It's
absolutely.
definitely worked
Yeah,
out for him.
it's like he's like a fungus. He'll grow on you.
Right. We got a lot of comments here. I'm going to pull up a couple of them. Netflix finally got something good to watch with wrestlers. Absolutely. Shout out Haley J. Man, yeah, she was featured quite a bit. I actually first saw her at AEW's house show up in Troy. She wrestled up there. That
Oh,
was
no
my
shit.
first exposure to her. Yeah, she wrestled Ruby.
Oh,
Ruby
okay.
Riot. Mhm.
Yeah. Ruby's so great, man. Ruby's been great to my
And
kids.
I think, we had another. I know you guys travel around a little bit during the summer. You ever thought about doing one in Cincinnati, or can you only do them in Kentucky?
No, we can in Cincinnati. We just, haven't branched out yet. I would like to. In fact, my goal since I, purchased OVW was to, develop a regional territory in about a 2.5 hour area outside of Louisville. So that would encompass Dayton, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Nashville, and then of course, Lexington, London, Kentucky is one of the areas we used to run years ago. Probably over in Eastern Kentucky, West Virginia.
I don't
That's
know
a
how
hell of a territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how interested you'd be in Newport, Kentucky, but if you're familiar with the Thompson House, it's a venue that they turned the old Tommy gun factory into.
Really?
It has an amazing balcony in an area that would be great with a super high ceiling. And I can get you in there if we could talk more later on that. But
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm always, especially with the only thing that prevented us from really going in those areas was just, Louisville. Louisville's the 49th largest television broadcast area in the country, and we get every Thursday we get at least a half a share in the Louisville market in the surrounding area, which means that's about 80,000 homes that we reach just in Louisville alone.
Wow.
And and we're on a lot of different, and they're not major broadcast cable networks, but they are broadcast cable networks. They're not streaming networks. like my partner thinks. Um, and they're about, honestly, we reach, like YTA is not a major network, but it's a national network, and we're about, and just YTA alone reaches about 50 million homes
Oh,
across the
wow.
country, through broadcast and cable network. And then we're on the Action Channel, Next Level Sports, RCN, and Lily networks, and with, I think it's the RCN network. We're in Manhattan, and literally in Manhattan, and in Washington D.C. and Chicago, and in major metropolitan areas. And that's a broadcast and cable network as well.
Oh, wow.
So, but for us to reach like Cincinnati, the Cincinnati area, Dayton area, we got to rely more on Fight TV, which have access around the world with. But because of the lack of awareness, we've not really been able to really generate or build enough of an audience to where I felt like comfortable and confident that if we ventured northeast into that area, like in Newport or Cincinnati, that we would be able to have a profitable show,
I
so a
could
profitable live event.
I could tell you just from our core people alone, I could almost guarantee you a sellout in Newport, especially
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
You could do $50 tickets and it would sell out. Like, you know what I mean? That's just the type of place that is, and
yeah.
the swell for wrestling around here is
Hmm.
great. It's a really good place for it. We
Heck,
travel all over
they could
for it.
do a show on the levee, man.
Yeah,
Outdoor
right on the
show.
levee.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah,
might
Well,
be
we'd
getting a little
we'd
cold
love
for that
to, and
now, but yeah.
I'd really like to explore, coming that direction, and because I'm always looking for, new venues and new locations, and because that ultimately, I mean, that's the whole purpose of, putting your doing a wrestling TV show, which I always have this conversation with Vince Russo, and we debate back and forth. He's like, it's a TV show, and I'm like, no, it's a commercial. It's literally, I produce a live 2-hour commercial every week, to sell my product, which are the wrestlers themselves. And it's not just to get as content for a network. It is literally to motivate an audience to want to come to the Thompson Factory, and and um, show up and experience it live. So the wrestling business is very much like the music business. They put music on the radio to get you interested in the artist and their music, and then the artist and their really doesn't sell the music or and make money until they go out on tour and they do
Right.
their concerts. And that's where they, and that, because you heard it on the radio, that's what drives you to go to the concert, which now drives your interest even more in the artist, which makes you want to listen to more of their music on the radio. And it same goes with wrestling. So
And we saw it, like, yeah, wrestling's fun to watch from home, but look at what happened during COVID. I mean, was wrestling really
yeah,
that fun to watch with no crowds, with nobody
no,
cheering? The
no,
whole purpose, like, and being there live, what an experience that was. I went to my first live wrestling show, I think it was
yeah,
like 2.5 years ago. Like, I've been a
mm-hmm,
fan my whole life, but went 2.5 years ago, brought my daughter with me, and
mm-hmm,
I'm like, I can't believe I've been missing this my whole life. And
yeah,
after that, that promoted me to go to, oh, is there local stuff around me? And we go to, NWF and Wrestling Revolver up in Dayton, and
uh,
all over the place. Heck, I've gone up to South Bend, Indiana to watch a Warrior Wrestling show. Like,
yeah.
it's all over the place, and it's so much better in person, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I don't think that, quite honestly, there's anything that you can, that's quite like, being in at a wrestling event and getting that experience, because I talk about in the documentary about how everything we do is to work toward a moment
Hmm.
that it only gets, you can only share it with that audience at that moment, in that building, in that time frame. And you can be recorded, and you can watch it back, but it's never like it is at when you're there. So
Yeah.
the energy is amazing.
The moments we've been there for live are ones that we will remember. I mean, I know these guys are already thinking of the same one I am up in Dayton. One of our good friends, Jake Chris, won the Revolver World title, and we were there for it. And that was,
uh
I watching it on Fight would not have even been close to the same thing.
yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine.
It's pro
Um,
wrestling, man, and it's fun. It's
Yep.
been paying off a lot for us lately too. We've been having a lot of fun with it, and loving wrestling and wrestling loving us back, man. It's
Yeah.
been pretty cool.
Good. Good.
Do got another question for you from Steve here.
Yeah.
Did the experience training prospective wrestlers on Toughen Up help prepare you for training wrestlers at OVW?
Well, I had been prior to Tough Enough. I had my own school in Lima, Ohio, for years, and had trained a lot of guys that went on to have significant careers. D'Lo was one of my guys. Scott D'Amore was there. Mickey Doyle broke him in, but I helped Scott. And then Glenn Jacobs, Kane came there for a little bit. Steve Austin stopped in for a while, and then I'm trying to Blue Meanie, Dan
Okay.
Severin.
Meanie. I love Severin.
A lot of guys, that went through there. So I had already, that was part of the reason why that was what got me the opportunity, was because JR knew of my experience training people, and that was what they gave me the opportunity to be a part of Tough Enough at that time. So,
Okay.
that was, and what a great experience that was. That was, that was probably, now I'd say this and Tough Enough are probably the two things that I'm the most proud of doing for professional wrestling.
Man,
both of them.
Wrestlers is so good. I mean, I love Tough Enough too, but Wrestlers is so organic. It feels like you plucked it right out the garden. You know what I mean? It feels like it is
Well,
just.
that's a testament to Greg Whiteley,
Mhm.
and a testament to everyone in OVW, all the wrestlers and the staff and everybody, because everybody had to kind of sit back and make a choice that they were going to, open up, and they were going to just let everything be seen.
Mhm.
And I kind of had I was a little reticent about doing it because I'm a little bit of an older, old style when it comes to the, pulling the curtain back. But
Right.
I had to trust Greg that he would pull it back enough, but he didn't pull it back so far that he destroyed the magic of the whole thing you're watching.
Right.
So always, the analogy I always use is that, like, Wizard of Oz, everything's colorful, it's magical, it's exciting, and then you pull the.
Oh, we lost Al.
No, we lost Al.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Whoop.
Losing
Can't hear you,
Al.
Al. Can't hear you, Al.
Hang on.
There you go. How's that?
There it is.
They're back.
There we go. We're
Yeah.
back.
Well, the Wizard of Oz, everything's magic and colorful and exciting, and then you pull the curtain back at the end of the movie, and you find there's a little old man just twisting knobs and pushing buttons, and
Right.
and it's all and then it's back to black and white. You know what I mean? And so I think Greg Whiteley did an amazing job, and they pulled it back enough without pulling it so far that it ruined it, and still a little bit of, and then I think he actually, by doing what he did, he enhanced the magic of
Mm-hmm.
what you watch. You know what I mean?
I see.
So
For me, seeing kind of like I referred to some of them, perspectives that weren't exposed to me before, actually makes me appreciate some of the other people involved, your commentators and your officials, because they play such a crucial match in the flow of things.
Yeah, there's nobody bigger than the show. It literally takes every single person on every level. Even WWE, there's nobody bigger than the actual show. And you can't have the main event without the opening match. You can't have somebody win if somebody's not willing to lose. You can't even get somebody to lose if you can't get somebody to win if somebody's not willing to lose. You can't get somebody
Right.
to lose if somebody's not willing to win. I mean, it all and it does take everybody, and everybody's important. There's nobody that's insignificant, when it comes to putting on professional wrestling. That's why, for years, as far as the etiquette in the business, we've shake each other's hands, tell each other thank you, and show that gratitude and that appreciation, because we all live together, we all eat together, and we all starve together. So
Absolutely.
So
Got a Dave here asking you to bring it to Chicago. So I'm sure one
I
of
would
these
I
days.
would love to bring it to Chicago. I would love to bring it to Chicago. That would be
Dave
great.
runs a pretty successful page on Instagram, and he really just
Mhm.
puts out different news and stuff like that. And he was actually the one that his claim to fame was CM Punk was the only page he would comment on when he was
Mm,
out on hiatus and stuff like that. So
yeah.
we called Dave our CM Punk whisperer. But he said he's had wrestlers from OVW reach out to promote, so he was happy he was able to do that.
Good.
So I gotta ask before we, because I know you said you only had a half hour. We
Yeah, I gotta
technically
hop
already
off.
gone over that.
Yeah.
I gotta ask before we get out of here. Collar and Elbow reached out to me. I have a world record. I don't know if you know my gimmick, but I don't know if this was you personally that reached out to me. But if it was someone from Collar and Elbow, I gotta say thank
Probably
you.
my
because-
partner Rod.
See, I have a world record for going the most consecutive days wearing a different pro wrestling T-shirt design, all for the
Awesome.
love of pro wrestling. Right, and today
Yeah,
is
yeah.
actually day 632, and I'm wearing a collar and elbow shirt. So I figured,
Yes.
why don't I just steal this clip right here that we're in
Yeah.
right now and make that my official shirt video for the day. It's a really
There
great
you go.
site. They have a lot of great designs, and you can go check them out at collarandelbow.com. They have everything on social media as well, and they have some
Yeah.
really cool shirts on there.
And if they use the code Snowman, they can take 10% off. Even if we have a sale, let's say it's 30% off, use code Snowman, and you can take an additional 10% off of that. So
Boom.
Awesome.
And with that being said, I'll see my other wrestling T-shirt guy friends tomorrow with shirt 633.
there you
There you
go.
go.
Now we can finish the interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for giving me the time, and I'm sorry that I got to run, but I got other more interviews to do and
You busy?
more
Get
stuff
out of
to
here.
promote the show. Yeah, yeah.
We appreciate your
well,
time.
You do have do you have a comedy show coming up? I keep hearing
I do in Lima, Ohio. I've got a stand-up comedy show October 28th, Lima, Ohio, at the convention center there downtown Lima, and it's going to be awkward. My mom's going to be in the audience for the first time, and that's going to be really a challenge. So
well, I'm going to be in the audience as well, so we'll see you there.
We're
Awesome.
we're definitely making that trip. That'll be awesome.
It'll be a lot of fun. I tell some wrestling stories, and I also tell a bunch of jokes and stuff too as well. So
Well, as
we love your
dads, we
sense of
love
humor.
jokes.
Yes.
We're all about the jokes. So,
Yeah,
well, thank you, Al, so much for coming on.
I'll leave
Really-
you with a joke real quick.
Okay.
Last night I went, to CVS. And I bought some condoms, and the sales lady was like, "Do you need a bag for that?" I go, "No, I don't think she's that ugly."
All right.
There we go. All right. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for coming on. As always, we have been the DWO podcast. I'm Big Rig Eric Maffey. He is Mr. Magnificent Mike Martin. He is Wrestling T-shirt Guy Cephas, and he is the one and only Al Snow. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Check us out on all the socials at DWO_podcast, Facebook at the DWO podcast, Pro Wrestling Tees, T Public, all that good stuff. And until next time, top dads out.
That's